Deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's laser-focused. We are defining your financial ammunition.
Your margin of maneuver.
Exactly, your financial firepower. And we're doing this before you ever load a single cartridge and, aim it toward an investment.
That preparation step is everything. It's the one most people skip.
They just jump right in.
They do. They jump straight to picking stocks or funds, but they haven't laid the mathematical groundwork to even support the habit. We're stepping back to make sure that foundation is rock solid.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this isn't about looking at your bank account on the 28th of the month and just, seeing what's left.
Not at all.
We're talking about flipping that script entirely, adopting a proactive mindset. The sources we looked at really emphasize this philosophy, which Warren Buffett put perfectly. He said, don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving.
And that's the whole shift. What's fascinating is that the objective here is incredibly concrete. We're not interested in just general optimism.
No vague ideas.
None. We need you to know exactly what specific, reliable amount you can commit and allocate each month. That hard number dictates everything.
It's your capacity for action.
It is, and it tells you whether your long-term goals are even achievable.
So let's find that number. The core formula we're talking about is revenue minus monthly expenses equals your savings capacity.
It sounds almost deceptively simple.
It does, but getting those inputs right, that's where the real work is. And the value, too.
That's absolutely right. I mean, everyone knows their revenue, their salary, but accurately defining those monthly expenses, that's where the whole process usually breaks down.
A rough guess just won't cut it.
Not if you want this to be actionable. You need to break those expenses down into 3 distinct buckets, just like the material recommends.
Okay, tell us about those buckets, because that's the nuance that I think you really need.
Okay, so first, you have your fixed expenses. This is the easy stuff. Rent, mortgage, any loan payments, things that don't change month to month.
Set in stone.
Pretty much. Second, your variable expenses. This is where you might have your biggest blind spot. Groceries, gas for the car, utilities that fluctuate a bit. You need accurate data here.
Right.
And third, the one that kills most budgets, discretionary spending.
Entertainment, eating out.
Hobbies, non-essential shopping, all of it. This bucket is what defines your current lifestyle, and it holds the greatest potential for optimization.
So once you've done the, let's be honest, painful work of actually tracking and totaling those 3 buckets, you can apply the formula. Let's make it real with the case study of Sandra from the sources.
Yeah, Sandra's data is simple, but it's a great illustration of the proportions we're aiming for. Her revenue was 2,000 euros.
Okay.
And after she meticulously tracked everything, her total monthly expenses came out to 1,400 euros.
So running the formula, 2,000 minus 1,400, that gives her a savings capacity of 600 euros a month.
That's her financial headroom.
And that's 30% of her salary freed up immediately. That's a great starting position. It suggests she's already pretty mindful of her spending.
Indeed. But this immediately forces us to address the next crucial question, the one we promised to tackle.
Which is?
Does this mean Sandra can immediately invest that full 600 euros every single month into the market?
And the answer, pretty clearly, is no.
A hard no.
That savings number is the potential. But we need to carve out a non-negotiable buffer first.
Precisely. And this is the essential distinction between your savings capacity and your investable capacity. They are not the same thing.
Not at the beginning, anyway.
Not until you build and maintain a robust emergency fund. Before you put a single dollar, euro, or pound into volatile assets that can lose value, that fund has to be there.
So what's the standard thinking on that fund? How big should that buffer actually be?
Most financial guidance, and this is reflected in the sources, suggests setting aside enough cash to cover 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses.
So just the fixed and variable ones.
Exactly. And this needs to be in an easily accessible, non-volatile account. This isn't money for investing. It's insurance. Insurance against life interrupting your plan.
So if Sandra's 600 euro capacity is directed toward building, say, a 6-month emergency fund first, her investable capacity is actually 0.
It's 0 until that fund is fully stocked.
Wow. That completely reframes the mission, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're not just defining a number, we're defining the time horizon needed just to start investing safely.
It connects directly to the bigger picture, which is risk management. If the market dips and you suddenly lose your job, You don't want to be forced to sell your investments at a loss just to cover rent.
The emergency fund gives you that buffer.
It's a psychological and a financial buffer that allows you to be a patient, long-term investor.
Okay, so let's pivot back to optimization then. Because the quicker you can build that buffer, the quicker you can start building wealth. Even if you aren't a big spender like Sandra, you could still find ways to boost that capacity number.
And optimization isn't about deprivation. It's not about tightening the belt, as they say.
Right, it's not about misery.
It's about ruthlessly optimizing for efficiency. It's about avoiding paying a premium for services you don't fully use, or for things where you can get the exact same outcome for less money.
The sources gave some great specific examples beyond just, cut subscriptions.
Yeah.
What's some of the low-hanging fruit for you right now?
Well, one major area is refinancing and interest rate management. If you have high interest debt, like credit cards, using your capacity to pay that down aggressively is like a guaranteed return.
A return that often beats the stock market.
For sure. Another is transportation. So many people overinsure or just under-research their car insurance. Comparing quotes, as the course mentioned, can often save you hundreds a year.
And a third one that I'm guilty of forgetting until it hits my statement. Utility negotiation.
Ah, yes.
In a lot of places, you can renegotiate or switch providers for internet, cable, even electricity. A 5-minute phone call can lock in a lower rate for a whole year.
And it adds up.
It really does. I realized last year I was paying double for a streaming service I used maybe once a month. Honestly, when I finally cut it, it just felt like found money.
That small, almost invisible seepage of money is where people lose their financial firepower. The core philosophy here is simple. If you wouldn't accept that kind of inefficiency in your job, why accept it in your personal finances?
That's a really good way to put it. Now let's talk directly to the listener, whose initial capacity calculation is much smaller than Sandra's 600 euros. Maybe it's only 50 or 100.
Right.
Does this whole process feel pointless to them?
Absolutely not. This brings up a really important question. Is the amount or is the habit more important? And the sources are completely unequivocal on this.
What'd they say?
The essential thing is just to start, to put a regular automated system in place and acquire good habits.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, that small amount, consistently and religiously allocated, is often more powerful than a massive one-time lump sum.
It is, because the regularity enforces the discipline you need for long-term saving and investing. It's the habit that counts far more than the initial amount.
That initial amount is just the seed.
Exactly. And what matters is the watering schedule. By automating that small commitment, you're building a muscle that allows you to handle larger sums confidently when your income inevitably increases later in your career.
So the capacity for maneuver is concrete, and the objective is simple. Know exactly what you can free up each month, be consistent, and build the habit.
Which brings us perfectly to the next phase of your deep dive. Allocation.
Right.
Now that you've defined that concrete savings headroom, and once your emergency fund is built, the next logical step is deciding how much of what's left can truly be invested in volatile assets.
And that means we have to address the nature of investment itself.
We do.
We have to pause here because in discussing that next step, allocating funds into markets, we are discussing a domain where results are never, ever guaranteed.
The context and the necessary disclosures are paramount.
So what's crucial for you to understand?
Well, it's that all reliable sources providing financial education emphasize that this is purely an educational sharing of experience. It's concepts, not a promise of results.
Not a prediction of the future.
Absolutely not. Markets operate very differently depending on when you enter and how much risk you take.
And this isn't just bureaucratic language, it's fundamental reality. We're providing you with tools for analysis, inspiration maybe, but not a decision-making matrix.
You're the only person who knows your full financial landscape.
Therefore, the investor that's you remains solely responsible for the choices you make.
And the outcomes. Every single decision about allocating your financial firepower has to be founded on your own thorough research. You have to consider your unique personal situation, your goals, your time horizon, and your tolerance for risk.
So let us be explicit, as is required. This content is educational and informative only.
It does not constitute personalized investment advice.
Nor is it a recommendation to buy or sell any financial assets. We're unpacking concepts. We're not endorsing specific products or guaranteeing success.
And always remember that past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Critically, all investment inherently carries a risk of loss.
Including the loss of your principal.
Yes. Do your homework. If you are ever in doubt about a major financial decision, please consult a certified professional before you take any action. Your research and due diligence are your core responsibilities.
Absolutely. So let's wrap up today's mission and give you your takeaways. You have completed the first and maybe most important step of your financial journey.
You've defined your concrete financial ammunition.
The two central rules we uncovered are, first, define your capacity using that formula, making sure you accurately account for all three buckets of expenses.
And second, build your emergency fund buffer first. That's what separates your savings capacity from your true investable capacity.
And finally, remember that consistency and good habits will always trump the initial size of the contribution.
That tiny, regularly saved amount is the foundation of massive wealth.
A perfect place to leave it.
And as you move into that next phase of applying this concrete knowledge to, asset selection and allocation, we'll leave you with a powerful thought from the legendary investor Charlie Munger.
Okay.
He said, "Take ideas where they are, but use your own brain to assemble them." Your job now is to synthesize everything you've learned and apply it to your unique, specific situation.
A perfect challenge to end on. If you found this deep dive useful and it helped you finally define your financial capacity today, please remember to like this deep dive and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next analysis.
We'll see you soon.